I never expected my life would turn into such a mess after getting married. My mother-in-law Sarah made sure of that. I'm 26, and I've been married to my husband for 3 years now. We recently had our first baby, a beautiful boy named Alex. What should have been the happiest time of our lives quickly became a nightmare. Sarah never liked me from day one. When my husband introduced me to his parents, she made it very clear that I wasn't good enough for her precious son. You see, I came from a simple background. My dad was a mechanic, and my mom worked at a supermarket. Meanwhile, my husband's family lived in a big house in the nice part of town, with fancy cars and country club memberships. We met at a local charity event where I was helping out as part of my teaching program. He was there with his friends, and we clicked instantly. We both shared a passion for helping others, and he didn't care that I wasn't from a wealthy family. He loved that I was working hard to become a teacher, and within a year, we were talking about marriage. When I first met Sarah, my husband warned me she could be difficult. But difficult was an understatement. She barely shook my hand when we met, and during dinner, she kept asking pointed questions about my family, my career choice, and my future plans. After dinner, I overheard her telling my husband about some lawyer's daughter who would be more suitable for him. Even though he defended me, I knew this was just the beginning of our problems. Despite Sarah's disapproval, we got engaged. She tried everything to delay the wedding, saying we were too young. When that didn't work, she tried to force us into having an expensive wedding we couldn't afford. We stayed firm and had the small ceremony we wanted, but Sarah managed to make it uncomfortable by giving a backhanded speech about how she hoped I would rise to meet the standards of their family. After marriage, things got worse. Sarah would show up at our house unannounced, criticizing everything from our furniture to our food choices. Once, she even brought along a young woman she wanted to set up with my husband, pretending it was a coincidence. My husband was so angry he didn't speak to his mother for weeks. Despite all this, we were happy. I got promoted to head teacher at my school, and my husband was doing well at his father's business. When we announced my pregnancy, Sarah's behavior escalated. She insisted on coming to every doctor's appointment, questioned all our decisions, and even demanded I stay with her during the last month of pregnancy. I refused, which led to a huge argument. The birth was difficult. I was in labor for almost 2 days. But when our son finally arrived, we were overjoyed. He had dark curly hair, just like my husband. We spent 2 peaceful days in the hospital before heading home. That's when everything really fell apart. When we pulled up to our house, I couldn't believe my eyes. All my belongings were scattered across our front lawn, my clothes, books, teaching materials, everything. Sarah stood in our doorway, looking triumphant. My husband told me to stay in the car with the baby while he handled it. That's when Sarah started screaming about how I must have cheated on her son because our baby didn't look right to her. My husband tried explaining to Sarah that she was being ridiculous, but she wouldn't listen. She kept yelling that I was no good and that she was protecting her son. I got out of the car with Alex, crying and begging her to stop, but she just got louder. Finally, my husband had enough. He went inside, got Sarah's bag, and told her to leave. She thought he would take her side, but when he firmly told her she wasn't welcome anymore, she realized she'd lost. She left, but not before yelling that she'd be back to save both my husband and Alex from me. After she left, we put Alex in his crib and spent hours bringing my things back inside. My husband's phone kept buzzing with messages. Sarah had already spread lies about me cheating to the whole family. That night, we decided Sarah couldn't see Alex until she apologized and changed her behavior. My parents came to stay with us for support, but things only got worse. Sarah started calling and texting constantly, sometimes apologizing, sometimes accusing me again. My husband's dad tried to make peace, but we stood firm. Some family members thought we were being too harsh, saying Sarah was just being protective. Others understood and supported our decision. This drama affected my husband deeply. He was trying to be strong for me and Alex, but I could see how tired and stressed he was. We even considered getting a legal order to keep Sarah away, but worried about causing more family problems. Moving to another city crossed our minds, but we liked our jobs and our house. Why should we have to leave because of Sarah? Then Sarah showed up at my husband's workplace, causing a scene by crying and telling everyone he was keeping her grandson from her. His boss wasn't happy about the disruption. She even called my school, telling my coworkers I was an unfit mother who had trapped her son with another man's baby. My principal was understanding, but it was humiliating. Things took an unexpected turn when my husband's sister Zara got involved. At first, she believed Sarah's lies and said hurtful things to my husband. But then she came to see the baby herself. As soon as she saw Alex, she realized how much he looked like her brother and knew Sarah was lying. Zara apologized and became our biggest supporter, which led to a huge family split. Sarah didn't like losing control over Zara. She started spreading rumors that Zara was jealous because she wasn't married and didn't have kids. When that didn't work, she hired someone to follow me around, to work, to the store, even to doctor appointments. It made me feel scared and violated. When my husband found out, he threatened to get legal help if Sarah didn't stop. The situation hit rock bottom when Sarah tried to get legal rights to visit Alex. Thankfully, her case didn't stand a chance since Alex was so young and she had never even met him properly. All this stress started affecting my health. I was losing weight and having trouble feeding Alex. My doctor worried about depression, so I took some time off work. Finally, my husband's dad realized how serious things were. He came to apologize for not stepping in sooner and promised to handle Sarah. He said he'd support whatever decisions we made about keeping her away from our family. But Sarah wasn't done yet. 6 months later, Sarah took things to a new level. She started going to our neighbors, telling them we were bad parents and that they should call child services. Some believed her and started giving us dirty looks, while others warned us about what she was doing. One day, when my husband was at work, she came to our house and kept banging on the door for hours. I sat there terrified, holding Alex and trying to keep him calm. I called the police, but she left before they arrived. After that scary day, we installed security cameras around our house. The stress started affecting my husband's work. His boss warned him that his performance was slipping. My parents stayed with us to help, but Sarah didn't like this either. She called my dad's workplace and falsely claimed he was dangerous around children. My dad had to explain himself to his boss, which was embarrassing for him. Then came my husband's cousin's wedding. We weren't invited because Sarah had convinced everyone we didn't want to be part of the family anymore. Zara tried defending us at the wedding, telling everyone the truth about what Sarah had done. This caused such a big fight that the bride ended up crying, and everyone was asked to leave early. After that, Sarah changed tactics. She started acting nice, sending gifts for Alex and apologizing cards. She even sent us gift cards for nice restaurants. We were suspicious but decided to give her one last chance. My husband especially wanted to believe his mom had changed. We let her visit under strict rules. She could only come when we were both home and couldn't be alone with Alex. The first 2 visits seemed fine. Sarah was polite and brought home-cooked food. But during her 3rd visit, when my husband went to the bathroom, she tried to run away with Alex. She had her car running outside and a packed bag in her purse. If my mom hadn't been there to stop her, she might have taken our son. We called the police, and this time they arrested Sarah. Seeing his mother arrested broke my husband's heart. But it finally opened his dad's eyes. He started divorce proceedings and apologized for not believing us sooner. He asked to stay in Alex's life, promising to keep Sarah away. We agreed, but made it clear he couldn't tell Sarah anything about us. My husband started seeing a therapist to deal with everything, which really helped him. I went back to work part-time, and my coworkers were very supportive. Alex kept growing and looking more like my husband every day. Sometimes it makes me sad that he won't know his grandmother, but we know it's better this way. We tried family therapy with Sarah, but during the first session, she yelled at the therapist and stormed out when told to take responsibility for her actions. After that, some family members who had believed Sarah's lies reached out to apologize and asked to meet Alex. We're being careful about who we trust now. A year later, my husband lost his job when his company downsized. Sarah saw this as another chance to control us. She kept offering money and showing up uninvited. When we refused her help, she called child services, claiming we couldn't afford to feed Alex. They quickly saw he was well cared for, but it was scary and humiliating. Sarah then started sabotaging my husband's job search. She sent out fake applications in his name, making him look unstable to potential employers. He eventually found work at a local store, but it wasn't enough to cover our bills with all our legal fees. I picked up extra hospital shifts to help, but we were barely getting by. The final straw came when Sarah showed up at Alex's daycare, trying to take him. That's when we decided to move to a different city, 3 hours away. My husband could transfer with his new job, and I found a position at another school. It was hard leaving our support system, but we needed a fresh start. We only told Zara and my husband's dad where we were going, and got a permanent legal order to keep Sarah away. My husband's dad is even thinking about retiring near us once his divorce is final. Zara helped us move and visits often. It's not the perfect ending we hoped for, but we're finally finding peace and building our life without Sarah's chaos. Sometimes the hardest choices are the right ones. We lost some family along the way, but we gained something more important, a safe, happy home for our son. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.